Hi there, Bill Hitchcock. Got a fantastic program for you. This is something I look forward to getting out to you. It is the 2025 hurricane predictions from Colorado State University. Colorado State University has been the leading go-to folks for hurricane predictions each year, and during the course of the year, they will update it. Not only are we going to get out this year's predictions, but we're going to talk about last year's predictions from Colorado State and compare them to what actually happened. But the major motivation for me to do this now is the news. I love the news when they do, well, the news does this about hurricane predictions.
Breaking news right now.
Joining us now for more on this, White House Press Secretary Haley When you hear these leaders in various cities react to what's happening,
Every year, it's going to be above normal. It's going to be terrible and grief and angst. Every year, and consequently, what happens? We're gun shy. We don't pay attention to it. But listen to this: Colorado State University. They say we anticipate that the 2025 Atlantic Basin hurricane season will have above normal activity. Well, go figure. We anticipate. The information obtained from March. Okay, they just came out with this, got all this information, March of 2025, come out with it, indicates that 2025 Atlantic hurricane season will have activity above the 1991 to 2020 average. And this is what's mission critical. This is how they judge if it's going to be above normal. They've just been averaging from 1991 to the year 2020. That's 29 years. They don't go all through time. They don't go through the past 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. Just a very brief window of not even 3 decades is what they've been comparing to. That's too small of a window. It really is. So why 1991? Well, we didn't start getting satellite sea surface temperatures until the 90s. We didn't have digital thermometers until the 1970s. What they consider accurate weather record keeping hasn't been around but for 150 years. So I've talked a lot about this over the year of doing this program, that the record keeping and accurate record keeping is within the past few decades. So that's why Colorado State University just does from 1991 to the year 2020 to make an average. And if anything above that average, they say that. We're going to find out a little later on what they don't say and what the news doesn't say is that 2025 actually is going to be below last year in terms of averages in their predictions. So there's a lot of good news for that. Now, let's get into a little bit of the scientific-y stuff. It'll be brief, but it's going to be real graphic. I'm going to show pretty pictures because that's the way I think. It says Colorado State University says current La Nina conditions are likely to transition to ENSO neutral conditions, and ENSO is short for El Nino Southern Oscillation. So the neutral conditions of the next couple of months. Now here's a little stressor point. However, there remains considerable uncertainty as to what the phase of ENSO will be this summer and fall. They don't know. So, there's a whole bunch of doubt. So they are trying to correct that with that. Let me show you some pretty pictures if I can. Here we go. Here, I'm putting them up full screen so you can see them. On the left is El Nino. On the right is, La Nina. And on the right is El Nino. Now look at those. They're actually Gulf streams. The blue one on the left says polar jet stream. In the red one, they're calling it the Pacific jet stream. Now look at the El Nino on the right. You'll see that the jet stream, the polar jet stream, is migrated way far north. And the red Pacific jet stream comes right into North Carolina. And jet streams, by the way, just as a little weather thing, really that's one of the most driving forces we have for weather, because a such as, well, we'll pick on this one right here. This polar jet stream here, it acts like when you got a low pressure, high pressure, it acts like a pinball machine. It bumps those low pressures and those high pressures. So follow the jet stream. If it starts migrating north, it's going to allow those low pressures, which are hurricanes, to have a better chance to give us a whack. Now, let's talk about this Enzo that they were referring to. Pull that up. Now, this is what they are calling neutral conditions. The Enzo is the El Nino Southern Oscillation, which is neutral conditions. And you can see graphically that it's kind of like a split between the two, the El Nino and the La Nina. So that's what they don't know if it's going to happen. They say, though, let me continue on here, warmer than normal tropical Atlantic combined with likely, underline that word, Enzo neutral conditions typically provides a more conducive dynamic and thermodynamic environment for hurricane formation and intensification. So they go on to say we anticipate an above average probability for major hurricanes making landfall along the continental U.S. Again, they're basing that off of an average from 1991 to the year 2020. A 29-year history is what they're basing their probabilities off of. Now, let's jump into the thick of things. Colorado State University says we estimate that 2025 will have 17 named storms. Now, that's not hurricanes, that's named storms, 9 hurricanes, 4 of which will be major hurricanes, which means a category 3 or above. So that's for 2025. They say for the chance of the United States, anywhere along the United States getting whacked by a hurricane, just a little bit over 50% at 51%. The eastern seaboard, which is from the tip of Florida all the way up to Maine, there is a 26% chance. So we here in North Carolina, they're saying a 26% chance of getting whacked. And in the Gulf, 33%. So it's 51 for the U.S., 26 for the East Coast, and 33% for the Gulf. Now, this is what tickles me. Last year, I did a whole special, whiz-bang, special on the predictions for 2024. Let's compare. Last year, they said they predicted 17 to 25 named storms, 8 to 13 hurricanes, 4 to 7 major hurricanes. And this is what they were saying for last year. And I'm going to compare what they're predicting this year and what they're predicting last year. Last year, they said there was a 62% chance of landfall in the U.S. 62% last year. This year, they're saying there's a 51% chance. Last year, they said there was a 34% chance that a storm would hit the East Coast. This year, they're saying a 26% chance. And in the Gulf, they're saying there was a 43% chance of a hurricane making landfall in the Gulf. This year, they're saying a 33% chance. So when you compare this year to last year, we have about a 10%, I would say overall, lesser chance, 10 to 15% chance, lesser chance of getting hit by a hurricane than last year. Now, again, with their 29-year average, they say that there's an above average chance, but in comparison to last year, no, we got a lesser chance. Now, am I belittling any of this? No, as we all know, it only takes one storm to have everything completely mommicked. So I'm not telling you to put your guard down. What I am telling you is don't be scared, don't be frightened, don't let the news, it's above average. Well, every year is. We won't really get good, accurate averages for decades until they've got all of this accurate information. And fortunately, in decades to come, we'll have better methodologies for getting the information to be able to predict these things and better recordations of the events as they actually do happen. So that's really all I wanted to get out to you. I'm not doing any fishing report or anything at all, management, what have you, in this particular program, because I want people to see this. Our chances are less this year than last year. It explains what the averages are. It explains why they always say it's above average. So just relax, people. Stay tuned to the National Weather Service and the Hurricane Center for anything. Be prepared. Don't be dumb. Don't try to brave them out. And just stay calm. I'm Bill Hitchcock. Until next time, see you.